Tomorrow apparently he's got to do all his homework, but he hasn't done for the entire summer holidays. Sounds like a typical farmer. Glynn's just telling me, oh, you know, the new one.
It can't pull it as fast.
Oh, it pulls it quicker.
And it's more efficient.
Oh, here we go, it's fuel efficient. Yeah, he's trying to get me on every angle. Maverick was telling me they went to a nightclub and two guys from York came up to him and says, "You're Maverick, aren't you?" In the middle of a nightclub. He said, "Yeah," he said, "we've been watching you." 2nd of September, it's an overcast day, it's threatening to rain, there's a bit of spots. Just brought Freddie down his lunch, so he's got shepherd's pie today. This is the Horsch Joker. A couple of people keep saying, what's the Joker? This is a Horsch Joker, 12 metres, 2 sets of discs, and then a following double packer. No level boards, but we run this at 4 inches, 10 centimetres, mostly as a secondary pass. But when we do after beans or we do after oilseed rape or mustard, we usually go with this twice. So we use this as a secondary pass where the trano's been, levels it off, breaks it down. Freddie's just explaining to me that actually it's too lumpy and bumpy. The lumps here are absolutely solid. They need a hell of a rain to get them down. Absolutely solid, but we're working with what we got. So at least when it does rain, they'll break down, they should explode. So we're just getting fields ready now. We wanted to be started on the 5th of September, putting winter barley in. Currently that plan is slightly being adjusted because we need it to rain. We want the flush of the rubbish to grow, so then we can spray it off and then start drilling. And we also, this seed beds are too dry for us to drill into currently, but this rain's coming. So let's see what we get. So Freddie thinks 2 days of rain, we'll find out. So the frame on the back, which now goes down, this is now made by Grange, and this is pulling out the wheeling. So on CTF, this is going along. This is now pulling out, you know, at 12, 14 inch. You're pulling out the wheelings there. Always driving on the CTF wheeling, so that's pulling them out. And that's typically what we would use to redo the every 12 metre intermediate pass as well as the main tram lines. I came up with this idea in 2010 when travelling to Australia, and they were using big discs to fill in the tram lines. And I went to Richard at Cultivation Solutions, and he built me the first of this type, which was in red. We've got 2 of them now. Tom Hawthorne had one, I bought it off him. And then we've upgraded, we've done over 10 years, no, it would have been more, wouldn't it? It would have been more like 12 years with that. And then we bought this, I think it was last year. So Rowan made this for us, and we're running this, and this is working really well. We're pleased with this. It's got trip back, hydraulic trips that then let the legs come back if it hits an obstacle. Auto going back because being hydraulic. And then the disc there is just cutting through anything that might get tangled up around the leg. And then the Joker's towing behind it. So the Joker drawbar height will stay at the same place the whole time. This is what's critical to make this work. And then the frame where the legs are goes up and down independently. So then the drawbar's kept at the right height. So we're not trying to reset the drawbar height, which then would mess up the height of the disc, because these discs have all got to run at the same depth. So he's running at 4 inches, 10 centimetres as we're going along. You see it chucking the spoil, doing a good levelling job, moving all the soil across the profile, and then the packers are pushing it back down and consolidating it. So this will take quite a lot of rain before this will stop, with it being so dry. So Freddie's up there on his GPS, probably doing about 15 kilometres an hour, whereas the Tranos do about 9 kilometres an hour. This is doing 15, so this is quite quick. So he'll be doing over 100 hectares every day, if not 120. Yeah, we're pleased with this setup. This is our second Joker. So this setup works well for our business, and yeah, it's quick. You know, gets over the fields. And it works really well on the Challengers with the flat tracks. They're gliding over the top. They're not putting the weight and the compaction down. And They're leaving a very nice finish. We find with tractors they scrap, they're digging in, the nature of them, the more taut, the more they dig in, the deeper the rut, the deeper you've got to put the cultivators in to try and clear the rut, pull it out. Whereas these are floating on the top, one for a better word. As long as you're not trying to turn on a penny at the end, they turn well, and you take a nice turn, not dissimilar to what a quad track would, for example. You don't chew up the headlands. If you want to turn on a penny, you'll create a rut on the headland. So we just take a nice angle. But whereas we've got 12-metre machinery, the fact is that the angle of the turn is nice and steady. You've got a 4-metre machine on there. You're pulling it back in the light bulb quite tight, as you've seen with Glynn when he's ploughing. But the ground at that point hasn't been moved. If that had been moved, he would then be creating quite a roar up of soil. So this is now, Freddie's done about, probably I would think, getting on for 8,500 acres of jokering. The Tranos, now there's running 2. All the first time cultivations in Cambridge is done. They've then got to do the first time cultivations, finish that in Bedford. Everywhere there was beans, Freddie's already done them twice, so that's done. He'll go back to Bedford when they're finished to Toronto, just polish that off, and then they'll all be moving to Lincolnshire. So if we're lucky, we'll be in Lincolnshire on Wednesday, and we're hoping by the end of the week they'll have all the primary cultivations done, and then it will just be Freddie catching up with the secondary cultivations. What do you mean you were telling me this wouldn't pull it?
4k slower.
No.
4k slower.
It's not.
8.3k.
Have you got the throttle forward?
Yeah. 2,200 revs.
Flat out?
Yeah.
Hard as it will go? You must be in the wrong gear.
It won't pull it, I'm in 7, it won't pull it in 8. Kills it.
No. Well, we never tried the new one on this field though, that's the problem.
It's lighter here. This is lighter pulling. Look at it, look.
Do you know what? I wish you'd stayed with your, I'm not getting in, I'm staying in this one.
And other tractor, right?
Yep.
So
have you been waiting to see me? Have you been
about,
brewing up on this all day?
It's this long.
Oh God. Well, so you wanted feeding.
The new Fendt, 70 litres an hour.
Yeah.
109 on this.
70 litres an hour?
Yeah.
109 on this?
This is usually 109. I've kept, it's the same data for it.
Yeah, I know, but to be fair, you are working on a computer, aren't you? There's no science to this.
There's a lot of science.
You're like Sandy in the gang, you'll believe anything it tells you.
If I had that Fendt, right, I'd have finished this field and that field by now.
Oh no, started. I think there must be a cylinder down or something. I can't believe it's been outpulled. So this is the Horsch subsoiler project which Michael and Philip built. We take the outside legs off because we're on controlled traffic. This technically could run at 4.5 metres, and we only want to run at 3 metres. So we go a bit wider because the tram lines are wider through the nature of them. So we take the outside legs off, and that machine's working well, pulling up. You can see by the way the tractor's pulling it, but it's taking a bit of draft. Got the hydraulic top link on these tractors, so we can move that in and out. It's got the tyres he can put up and down according to the pressures, road or field. Got his own fuel, etc. here. Got his parts. He's pretty much able to look after himself. He's got his fridge in there as well. He's currently eating his lunch I've just bought him. So his nice shepherd's pie and apple crumble. You got out to talk to me and you're smiling.
Yes.
Now, that's a sign of having too much time on your own to think about things. So come on, I've had it from Glynn. I've already had it from Glynn. So what is it?
I want crawler back.
Hold on a second. You're a tractor man.
Yeah, I know. You've changed
hold
me.
on, you are a wheel tractor man.
I know, you've changed me.
No, this is going from a tractor to a crawler. This is like leaving infancy
Yeah, I know.
and becoming a real man.
I know.
You're not suddenly telling me that you now like the crawlers.
I do like the crawlers.
Oh dear. Well, how are we going to put a sprayer on the crawler? Because I know we can put a drill on, so that's solved.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, we've still got another 3.
3 what?
942s.
Oh right, okay. So what do we do with the chaser bins?
Chase a bin in the crawler.
You've been thinking this through, haven't you? So Glynn's just telling me, oh, you know, the new one.
They can't pull it as fast.
Oh, it pulls it quicker.
And it's more efficient.
Oh, here we go. It's fuel efficient. Yeah, he's trying to get me on every angle.
And it's safer.
Why is it safer?
Well, when you pull up to something, you've got full control of the TMS compared to the clutch jerking.
You don't touch the clutch. You've got a de-accelerator in that.
Yeah, but when you put it, when you put it into reverse, you've got to, like that one at the moment's quite bad.
Oh dear. So have you two been on the phone to each other?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah, so you've been trying to concoct a story, haven't you? This is like my children. Trying to work out how they're going to manipulate their father to end up getting something.
It's coming up well. It's tough in some places.
I can see it's pulling tight.
But it's doing a good job. I've pulled through those tram lines in that wet spot, but I'll let him see if he wants to pull through it. If it won't pull through it, I'll pull the wet spot out.
You can see where some of these bits are really bad, can't you? And
Also, we had that problem when we was drilling it, didn't we?
Yeah. Well, just, you know, it's the 2nd of September.
I know.
3 days.
I know.
Countdown. Have we got rain coming? Because I thought it was going to throw it down earlier.
Well, that's what I thought as well.
And it seemed to have blown over.
Drizzled. Well, we had hard rain for about 10 minutes. So I put that on when I came down here, that needed a regen.
Okay.
So I put it on a regen and gave Glynn a hand with a couple of bits on his Toronto.
Can you tell that when to do a regen? Because it's so frustrating
Yeah,
that
you sit there,
if that happens the moment you want to do something.
I know, it came up when I came down the road and I thought that's fine. I'll get down here and then you can sit there, put park brake on, and the engine's got to be warm and it's got to have sufficient oil in it and everything, and then you can tell it to do it. Only when it goes over the bar though.
So Michael's back at the farm doing gatekeeper stuff.
Is that safe?
He's lost weight.
Is he? A lot?
And we even got on the scales.
Oh God.
And we were exactly the same. Anyway, I've been driving around in this car taking meals out to you, and all I can smell for the last, I don't know, hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever I've been doing this, is apple crumble. Of course, my favourite is apple crumble and custard. So I got to that corner over there and I said, oh, sod it. I'm going to have an apple crumble.
Oh God.
Yeah. So tomorrow. It starts tomorrow. Right, we're going to enjoy your tractor.
Yeah, we'll do.
So this is a tram line, but Sandy's just pulled up already. And you can see the blocks which are coming up in it, how solid it is. Bit of moisture still there, but surprisingly. But in the platelets, look where it's got compacted, it goes like they're like mini bricks. They go into layers, and that's where the life's been squashed out of it. And you can see it's like a square there. And that the platelets when it gets compacted. And you can see how it's coming up. So it's getting dry now, so we had to stop mould draining yesterday. Glynn was doing that. He's got probably about 60 hectares we've had to stop on. We'll have to do till next year. We were snapping the front of the bullets off. They were just clean breaking off. So we stopped on that, and we'll just get on with the tranoing now. So this is the trano. So first pass, as a rule, we like to run with the trano. Runs at 4 inches, positive tine in the ground, fractures it up, turns it over, and then the Joker comes behind, cuts it up, and just leaves us a nice level finish, which is perfect for us to drill into. You know, we do want the rain at some times, because the rain, you know, is a cultivation in itself. You know, when the rain falls on this, it will just break it apart, because it's had the energy and the power for it. So it's created fractures. You can see the cracks in it. And then when it rains, it just sort of explodes, and that's then start to get the tilth. And we need the tilth to be able to drill into. And the secret is we just need enough rain to allow us to travel. And when we get too wet, you lose the the ability to carry the machinery, and then it just starts to sink in, and then the machine doesn't flow through the machine because it's been wet, and it starts to block up the machinery, and that's when we have to stop. Almost dread the rain because of last year, and we're in this sort of panic. So I've set up my WhatsApp group now for my cultivations, so that all the guys which have come off the combines are now moving on to the cultivation team, the drilling team, and the spraying for the pre-emergence and the Roundup spraying. And I've called this group for this year to be completed by the 5th of October club, because that's what we've got to achieve by. I want to get it drilled up by the 5th of October. And that's done me well in the past, and that's when we'd have got our biggest yields. Yes, we might get a bit more black grass, but we get the biggest yields. Going later, actually it's very exhausting for the guys. They never know whether this is the weekend, this is the day they're going to go drilling. We need to create an end, and they've worked hard. They've been like sprinters. If we can get drilled up, and then everybody can have some time off, go do other things, and it means we can get on with other projects. This sort of continuous dragged out process makes it very difficult to plan anything. And so there's a level of enthusiasm and inertia now to get going, to get the cultivations finished and get the drills on. And Graham's going to come in tomorrow, start getting the drills on tractors, getting them looked over, making sure they're right, get them set up. We moved the seeds to various farms. Paul's been organising that. The guys in the grain store have been dealing with cleaning seed for us. They've even done the spring seed. They've got various other crops to just finish cleaning, and then that will get moved, put it stored away in the sheds, and then we can got all the seed ready. There's nothing to stop us. We've gone and bought the barley, hybrid barley. That's been collected, dropped off at different farms. Can't bring it here because we don't have a shed. So we'll bring that on 3 curtain siders when we're running, and we just keep interchanging them, swapping them around so that they're watertight if we get caught out by the rain. So we want to start drilling really in 3 days was the plan, but that's now looking like it's going to have to be the end of or sometime next week, which will put us back a bit, but at some point it will rain, and it will be just enough rain hopefully to crack on. But Glynns now tried to convince me that we need a new crawler, and I thought it was a nice thing that he'd have a go on that new crawler. I didn't actually think this through, that this was going to now turn into a problem. I mean, Chandlers will be over the moon if they think there's an opportunity to get a new crawler on here, or even buy the one which was the ex-demo we tried. It left us this morning, it's gone off to somewhere else. So must have lost more value now, somebody else has driven it. So one of my favourite things about the countryside are hedges. I really love hedges, but they've got to be in the right place. I don't like a hedge in the wrong place. This is just being cut by Chris, who started hedge cutting. It's the 2nd of September. You can start on the 1st of September. So he's come along here, and he's been cutting these hedges every year now for the last, I think, 6 years since we've been farming this farm. And he's cleared the grass along the base. He's taken the side up. He's taken the top off, and you can see here all the fruit is still here. And you've got all the berries, and so there's plenty of food for the birds to have through the winter. But the other thing is that the hedge is a big hedge, so you've got the height. So if they want to make a nest in here, the predators can't get them from the bottom, and they can't get them from the top or the side. They can make it in the middle, so it's a safe environment. If you don't cut this hedge, and you start going to 1 in 3 years, which is some of what the environmentalists are trying to get us to do, or not cut them at all, this wispy stuff that we've just cut, which just cut without shaking the hedge, you know, just gently. It's a bit like cutting grass in your garden. You don't cut the grass in your garden, you get big, thick growth growing, and then when you do cut it, you completely have to almost start again. Well, if that then got, I don't know, 5 times as big, because it's obviously growing all the time, then you cut that, you split that, you shook the hedge, all the greenery's gone, you're left with just an open hedge, nowhere for the birds to nest, etc. And there'll be no fruit on it for the winter, and it just doesn't make sense. Little and often, like cutting hair on your head, little and often, just every year, give it a quick whip over. It's quite quick because you can go quicker because it's small stuff and there's plenty for the environment. It creates a nice boundary. It's a good, smart appearance as well. I mean, who wants the country to look a mess? And environmentally, it's got everything that you want a hedge to offer. Don't agree with this every 3-year policy. So we had a new pole put in here this last 12 months. You see the poles in the distance, they're all leaning over. These cables are low. But they put a new pole, they've gone to the other side of the ditch this time, and they've left the old one, they've cut it off and just left that sticking out there. Crumbs, if a combine or something like that hits that, that's going to make a real mess. They won't be paying for that spot as well, because technically that's now 2 poles. Just left it, didn't pull it out. Could have dug it out. Anything other than just doing that. That isn't going to rot. Not in my lifetime anyway. Telegraph pole just being dumped by the electric company. Just pushed into the side. The harder you look, the more you realise what a big problem this relationship is. You start to look at these cables, seeing the height of them, and then seeing the chopped off stumps in the ground. We find their metal stays that we then get caught in machinery. So this is one of our weather stations on each of the farms further away from home. We put these weather stations up so that we can look on our apps, the spray drivers can, they can work out what the weather's doing on the different blocks. Don't want to drive all the way over here to find out it rained in the morning or the wind's too high, etc. I've just been trying to fix some of the wiring. Unfortunately, somebody took it upon themselves to come and cut the wires on it, which is a bit of a shame. But I know I've done a temporary fix and then we'll have to come and do a better one. But just round the outside now where we cultivated, this was ex-bean stubble. We've had the tractor on the hedge cutters obviously panned it down, so we now have to send the subsoiler in to lift all this up, to level it up, take up the compaction. Especially if it's wet, it gets even worse. But it's a real nuisance. The only reason this happens is because they've stopped us cutting the hedges at harvest time, and we have to now cut them from the 1st September onwards, which is completely batty. It would make sense if they said you can only cut a percentage of your farm in August, for example. And so we're now doing this, and we've got extra diesel and steel, etc., being put in to come round as an extra pass to come and pull these out, purely by the fact that we're being controlled on the date. It doesn't make sense that they would do this and talk about you know, birds nesting. Well, majority, if you know anything about birds, the majority of the birds have long gone by July. And there's nothing really of any note there in August. So, you know, you should at least get letters to be doing this, I think, from the 1st of July. Say you're allowed to do 30% of your farm then, 30% in August, and the rest from September onwards, especially as they're trying to make people cut the hedges every 3 years. But this whole idea of having to do this on land in a very tight window also doesn't make sense, because if you do things gently over a period of time, nothing's really disturbed. But if you cram us into a small date, then we've literally, within a month, got to do all the hedges on the whole farm, as opposed to just being allowed to do it gently over a period of time and make make it right as we are. And I showed you earlier with the berries, etc., and how important it is to do that. But I think there's a deep disconnect between practical, intelligent thinking and rules which are coming into UK agriculture. There is a derogation you can get for oilseed rape. So you can start cutting from the 1st of August, which really backs up my point that we must be able to do a percentage. So we're not putting oilseed rape in, and the way that the world's going oilseed rape, we must be able to apply the same logic from the 1st of August, if not July, if we're allowed to cut hedges in a percentage. Because if we're allowed to do it on rate, then surely it must be then accepted within the environmentalists that that is an acceptable process that we can go in that month. Pete's put a complaint in.
Has he?
Yeah.
Excuse me.
He's been watching the videos.
Machine envy.
And he feels that the ground care department is not being looked after correctly, and he thinks acknowledged. Sorry, not even acknowledged, and he wants to see that there's a new wheelbarrow at least apportionated to your department.
I think it's perfectly reasonable for that wheelbarrow over there.
Yeah.
Is upgraded.
Yeah.
To something not dissimilar, shiny.
Yeah.
With a logo.
I don't know where that wheelbarrow's come from, but that's not something I'd buy because it's not in the right colour for starters.
Unfortunately.
That means, you know what's happened, don't you? A builder's been here, he's picked our wheelbarrow, which is nice, took it, and then left us that old dollop.
Well, as you say, that's not something you'd buy, but it's something I'll push.
We need a twin wheeler, don't we? I'm thinking of your age.
Now you're talking.
You need something with stabilisers.
Oh, now you're talking. I'm getting excited. Forget all this horsepower.
Will that calm you down for a while?
Oh, keep me quiet for years.
Yeah. So Paul, we need to do one of those crowdfunding pages, don't we? Poor old Pete needs a new wheelbarrow. Isn't that the modern way? But I need it to be a big enough crowdfunding so I can actually go abroad to find the wheelbarrow that you want, because I'm sure it must be in somewhere like Nice or somewhere nice.
Research
project in the south of France, looking at wheelbarrows. So I see you got your agri top on again. Is this because you've been told you've got to wear your agri top? I've not even. They've given you this new. It's new.
One they wouldn't tell me anyway.
It's new. That's brand new.
I know. I've ordered it specially.
You've been sent it.
No, I have not.
You've been sent it.
I haven't. I've never.
Well, it's either you can't fit into some of your clothes.
Don't film me.
That's what's happening, isn't it? You can't fit.
No.
And I've been thinking a lot about yesterday and the weigh-in. Something's not right with the scales. I just don't understand it. Something's not right. Oh, we forget my scales. Is that what you think? You can't have lost all that weight.
Why not?
You were like 17 stone.
I was not 17 stone.
Well, what were you? 16, 11?
This time last year I was.
So, here we are. Hang on, Michael, you need to get back on there. We've got a weigh in.
I am.
Has it gone off the scale?
I'm fully clothed, Andrew. Get off! Hang on, I've just got to see it. I'll make sure.
Right, come on. Let's have a look at this. What?
I told you I'd lost weight.
Right, come on, weigh in.
I know he did. He's really got the turn on it.
15.52.
Come on, Patty.
Right.
I'm going to leave my belt on.
I should take your watch off. Oh, hang on.
Come on, Pecker, that's not down to 0.
No, because I'll still beat him.
Oh,
Hold on a second. Hold on a second.
no, we don't want to make you lighter.
We're not having this. Right, hold on, I've got my winter shirt on. Oh no, we can't have this. Oh.
You've got to stop.
Look.
Was that 16.3?
19.3.
No, that's not true. Your scales, I think, are so used to going to this weight.
I've never known two people so obsessed with the weight.
I've never known anyone so obsessed with himself.
Yeah. So the Australians and Richard went today, and they've gone off on the Uber to go to London to get a hire car. They're going up to Scotland and wherever else they're going. Anyway, Maverick was telling me they went to a nightclub, and two guys from York came up to him and says, "You're Maverick, aren't you?" In the middle of a nightclub. He said, "Yeah." He said, "We've been watching you." So Simon's had to strip this off. So would you believe it, a bit of baler twine, I think it was a bit more than a little bit of baler twine, it's got caught on the drive shaft coming out and has wrapped round and then got onto the rubber boot and has physically eaten the boot off and let all the grease out. So we'll have to buy new boots now, just from a bit of baler twine left over from baling. Has picked it up in the field and has wrapped it up and destroyed it, which is a bit of a pain. Somebody asked me about the seed, and so this is a seed trailer. We've got the auger system on it. We're actually going to build the ability to put the chemical on through the auger, and we're going to build an applicator down the side. I've already got the applicator, we've just got to pipe it. Comes along to the drills, fills the drills up, got 16 tonne of seed on there, and we use it on the Unimog. Works ever so well. We bag all the seed up, we clean it, we colour sort it, we do our own farm safe seed. We like to go through colour sort, make sure it's absolutely perfect, no broken grains, no trace of black grass, ergot or anything, just only the wheat we want. And then we're going to apply the chemical from this that goes into the drill, as I used to, or my father used to in the late 80s and 90s, so that we only then dress the seed that's going into the drill, into the field, as opposed to any stock left over can go straight back into the heap. So had this made for us last year. Fantastic guy made this, really pleased. So we've got the battery system fitted, we've got a remote so we can open and close the slide underneath. So it goes on our 6-tonne forklifts. You put a couple of bags in there and you can go down the road with it like a bucket, or you can cross the road. You haven't got bags swinging, moving around. You're not standing underneath the bags. And you put it above the drill, press the button, one man fills the drill, press the button, closes it and then empty the sock. Works really well. And you can drop it on the floor, take the forklift off, put the tines on, reload it with seed, drop the tines off, put this back on and off you go again. And it just gives us a bit more flexibility, and it's just to try and avoid us having to stand under these bags. We only use the, Paul Lawrence made a point about the bags. We buy the bags every year, we only one lift only. So we don't use them multiple years. They are reusable bags. We buy the reusable bags because they're better quality and they're stronger, but we don't reuse them. We actually bin them and buy new, because I've had a bad bag break, and unfortunately I wasn't stood under it at the time. I was just to the side, and when it came down, it comes down in such a solid lump, and the way it spooled over the drill, there was no getting away from it. It would have forced me into the metal work, and I don't think you'd survive from it. So that's why I've been so nervous about bags. That's why I wanted to have this made specially for us, and why we use the trailer systems and try and avoid bag loading. Of course, there are times that you do use a bag, but it's about minimising using them and about not standing underneath them. Kieran changed the wheels today. We got some help in to help us, because they're big wheels, it's a big job. We actually got a jack ordered. Unfortunately, it was delivered after we'd finished, but the idea was we bought a sprayer jack, so we can actually try and lift the machine up, as opposed to a normal jack we have. It's much taller, and it's, you know, because the height on these sprayers, you see where the wishbones are underneath, there's a long way from the floor, and you've got to try and lift it on the back here, and so you need a jack that's a lot taller than a standard jack. You know, the normal jacks we have, they would jack up to here, which are great for lifting a wheel up or something on a trailer. But something this high, we've had to get this big jack, and we got it from Spalding's. It's a Sealy product. It's in a big barrel, it's air operated, and then you've got your number of tubes in it, which you then put underneath, and it would pick this up. So then we could change the 2 tyres at once and put them on. We've got like a tyre frame that you wheel around, and we've had that probably about 5 years now. And it's quite good. It's got rollers in it, so you can manipulate the wheel to get the studs on in the right place, because if you ever tried to move these wheels, trying to get them in the right place, very difficult. So that's been a godsend, because changing tyres now on these, you know, you could do yourself a bit of injury. It's not like it was sort of 30 years ago where you could wheel them around on your own. These wheels now, they're you know, 48 inch and 42 inch. They're big old tyres. You can't do it on your own. So there was 3 people doing this today. I've got the tyre company in to come and help Kieran because we hadn't got the jack, so we needed to do it so it's safe. Yeah, it's taken him at least half a day to change the wheels over from the road crops we used over the summer months and the late spring, and now we're back onto the fat tyres for the winter. So because we had the problem with the Shimula hitch with the ball in it on the Toronto, this has got the same system. We came and checked it, and where the grease nipple went in on the side, we could see a crack. So we've took it off, and we've got a new hitch coming to because you know there's a weak spot on these hitches. So we checked this one, we're not happy with it, and then we're going to have to weld a sort of some kind of a frame here to put this chain on as well. So just the sort of things we're just learning, one for a better word. Then we had a car go past our tractor and subsoiler, and he caught the side of the subsoiler, not a tine, but actually just the frame, because it's not a folding type, it's only mounted on the tractor, and it ripped down the side of this car and peeled it back. And our chap was only at that point doing 37 kilometres an hour, just going nicely down. It's a very bumpy, undulating road. And it turned out that the guy driving the car was the uncle of young Will that came, who's 15, been doing the work experience in here. And actually Will was here today and yesterday. He's turned out to be a tremendous success, and yeah, we give him bits of work, and he's learning his trade, engineering with Simon. So he's going back to college or school, sorry, on Thursday, and tomorrow apparently he's got to do all his homework, but he hasn't done for the entire summer holidays. Sounds like a typical farmer. 3rd of September. It had some rain today, stopped this Joker, hasn't stopped the Torontos. They haven't had the rain in Bedfordshire where they're all working. We've got Graham and Sandy on subsoilers pulling up tram lines, and we've got Glynn and Raymond on the Torontos. Hopefully we'll be finished there tomorrow. And Freddie's back here, he's on the Joker pulling down second pass on the fields around here. He's halfway through that. Kieran and Sandy will be going up to Lincolnshire tomorrow, start on the tram lines there, followed by the following, what will it be, on Thursday, the Torontos will make it up to Lincolnshire and start doing Lincolnshire as a whole. So hopefully we'll have that done, if we can, in 4 days. That's our ambition. And that will be the cultivations finished, first pass, and then some secondary pass cultivations to be done. So hopefully by Monday, Tuesday, we will have it all completed. So answering some questions in which you put forward. Spray logs and cropping records, we use Gatekeeper. I do all of my records on Excel, and then it's put into Gatekeeper. And then we've got the computer accounts package, which is also dovetailed with Gatekeeper, so that we can actually then do our accounts and the people's fields and their farms according to the Gatekeeper, and the accounts program. It works beautifully well, and it's accurate, so we know exactly what was sprayed in litres and what the offtake was, for example, of grain that came off and what fertiliser went on, because everything goes over the weighbridge, so we've got accurate measurements, so we know exactly what's happened where. 2 tracks or 4. I'm a Challenger fan, have been for a long time. Haven't tried an 8RX, have tried a 9RX, have tried a quad track. In fact, we hired a quad track for 1 season. The Challenger system has suited us very well. Looking forward to trying the Class 12650, see what that's like. It's a steering system I'm really interested in the ability to drive itself. Yield difference to CTF. My Nuffield scholarship showed that there was a 13% reduction in diesel and an 18% increase in yield with the same inputs. That is the purpose of CTF, and a 6% efficiency. Swap the Unimog for a fast track. We'll look at what our options are. The Unimog's still out of service. It's been 2 weeks tomorrow. So this is now, biting problem for us. We're going to have to start trying to find a solution if Unimog and Mercedes don't turn this round. Do I know Andrew Ward, Wardy's Waffle? Yes, my cousin Michael married his daughter, one of his daughters. That's how I know Mr. Waffle. And he was the one that took the video of Michael and I having a weigh-in. And Michael's been here today and he's feeling very pleased with himself that he thinks he's lost another pound. Grain marketing, we use CRM marketing specialists for telling us what they think is the best way to sell grain. And we've been following that advice over the last 12 months. When do we start drilling? I originally said the 5th of September. We haven't had the rain to create the stale seabed scenario. So a lot of the weeds haven't actually chitted and we haven't had a spray off yet. So we had to postpone it. We've now got the 10th written down as our start date. Grain store doesn't run 24 hours, but the machinery in it does 24 hours. So we've got a grain hospital when that's running, that'll run 24 hours. There's an alarm system set up, and Gordon and Steve will check that as it's going through the night. And but the normal operation would be up to 16 hours during the summer. So a couple of other things that's happened. Unfortunately, we hit Ed Banks's very decorative metal fence, which you should see a picture of, with a straw trailer. And I had to go and see him that night, as humble apologies. And the next day, he drove his forklift into one of our new lorries and dented the tank, so we think that's karma. So that wasn't the best outcome. We've had a hitch break on the Trano, on Trano 1. That's really annoying, and that's inspired me to order some chains to fit the chains to try and, if that happens, that we don't actually rip all the hydraulics out. Had talked about it previously. I'm now feeling motivated, and I've now ordered some to try. So and apart from that, we are getting on well, and the weather's working with us, and everybody's in very high spirits. So look forward to seeing you next week. Just finished the talk off to go to France, and sending that tonight, and hopefully that's what they want. Otherwise, I've got to sit down and redo it, and we'll see you at the weekend.